You're watching Cox Connections only on Cox 11. What do you get when you mix unusually warm water in the Atlantic with cooler Pacific waters around the equator? According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, you get a busy hurricane season. And that is just what is predicted for 2011. The expectations are for 12 to 18 tropical cyclones, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 6 major hurricanes of Category 3 strength or higher. We at Cox encourage everyone to pay attention and make plans for what you and your family should do in the event of a storm impacting Hampton Roads. Nothing is more important than your survival. For the next few minutes, we would like to talk about what local businesses need to do and keep in mind in preparing for the worst. Because once the storm is gone, it will be time to start thinking about getting back to work. Joining me now are two people who have spent a great deal of time thinking about ways to help people and businesses survive the worst. Jim Riddick, Emergency Management Planner for the City of Virginia Beach, and the Vice President of Cox Businesses here in Hampton Roads, Mike Bram. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gary.
Hi. This is important stuff, but Jim, let me start with you. Why is this important, being prepared for hurricane season?
From a business perspective, it's really quite simple. And black and white, bottom line is, if you're not prepared, you may be closing your doors permanently. But if you are prepared, then you may be able to sustain your operations and continue your businesses.
There's a statistic I heard, I think you mentioned that if a business is closed 4 to 6 days, chances are that business
exactly.
within a year will be closed and never open again.
It may not open again.
Exactly.
And so this is really important stuff for businesses to get themselves ready. Mike, now you're doing business with a lot of companies in this area,
right,
providing telecom services. What are you seeing? What are some of the things that businesses should be doing that they're not doing in terms of being ready?
I think a lot of businesses are so focused on their core business, they're focusing on things not happening, that they're missing the requirement to plan, to create a plan. And then without a plan, Gary, if it's not tested, then it's really not a plan. It's taking that time out to say, what do I do to be sure that my people are protected, that they're accounted for, that my technology is available, and or that if I need to go to a different location, or what are the different alternatives if I lose power, or if I lose communications, or if I just can't be in my building now because there's no water, or there's a host of different things now that business owners and leaders have to be aware of and make plans to work no matter what.
I want to come back to that point about some of the business continuity planning in a second. But Jim, if I am a business, local business, what are some of the resources? Where do I go to find out how to get ready for
There's
this
a number
stuff?
of resources. Obviously, there's a Ready.gov campaign from the Department of Homeland Security. But more locally, on the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, they have a website at vaemergency.com where they have a business toolkit that walks the businesses through step by step the identification of essential functions, the succession.
Just, it's a checklist that they can go through and find out all the things that they need to be doing. And I think we're shoring some of those resources up, both at the federal, state, and local level. But there are resources as a business person that if I'm listening to this, I can go to those websites, I can find out at least what I need to be doing and really doing now. The season started
June 1st.
June 1.
Exactly.
It runs until
November.
Yep. And one of the things I'm always marked by, we talked about the number of hurricanes, but even if a storm isn't, I guess, a full Category 1 or 2, it still can pack a real wallop in this area.
Exactly. Well, and you look at Hurricane Isabel in 2003, that was a tropical storm. And a lot of folks think it was a hurricane, given the damage.
So all the damage that did, that was not even a hurricane.
Exactly. It was just a tropical storm. And in terms of the prediction, we really don't pay attention to how many storms are predicted, because we know that it only takes one to be a bad season. So we look at the hurricanes, but we also take an all hazards approach because there's so many things going on throughout the nation. We've seen the floodings of the Mississippi River, we've seen earthquakes, we've seen tornadoes, and hurricane is just one piece. So it's important in the continuity of operations planning to look at all hazards. And you had mentioned resources. Your people are the most critical resources. So making sure that they have personal and family preparedness plans.
That's a great point. So if I'm sitting here as a small business owner and I have this plan and I've exercised the plan, but my employees personally are not ready for this, I can assume that they're going to do something in the event of a hurricane, and they won't be able to do it because personally they're not ready.
Exactly. You want them aware of your plans, but you also want to know what their plans are. If they're going to evacuate or stay, where they're going to go. Just having that accountability, and whichever option they choose, how are you going to communicate with them, or how are they going to get in touch with you? And keep in mind, if it's a catastrophic incident, there may not even be communications available at that time. So having alternate strategies, alternate communications, so you can get back in touch, continue your continuity of operations, and get back towards the recovery.
And Mike, that's where you were going in terms of businesses really being able to exercise these and trial these and do tabletop exercises. Talk a little bit about some of the things that I guess you've done here at Cox and working with other businesses in that regard.
Sure. I mean, it's most important to really use an old military term, all present and or accounted for. It's a responsibility of the business to know, where their people are, as well as the employees, to let the employers know, here's where I am, because number one, you want to be sure that you can assure their safety if at all possible. You can have resources that can help them get back to work as quickly as possible. And if their home is of such disrepair because of some type of event, they may have to make that critical choice. I need to stay at home. I can't help my business right now. And a business owner can't let that be a surprise. You can't have just one person as becomes that single point of failure. Mm-hmm. That person's mission critical because that person might not be available.
Might not be there.
And it's just really being able to talk through those things and working with our partners in emergency management and others to provide the tools, and even American Red Cross and a lot of others provide these personal home checklists. So when they say the weather's bad or an event bad, it could be a terrorism event, is that you're having something that you can literally put in your car and leave now.
And I think as I'm listening to this, if I'm a small business owner, I'm thinking that, boy, if we really are hit with a catastrophic storm, mm-hmm. I mean, some of the basic things we assume are just not there.
Right.
I mean, water, power, getting access to cash, telecommunications,
right.
and all that stuff is gone. And so what do you do?
Right.
I mean, a big part's preparedness. I mean, you take your cell phone thinking I can use my cell phone no matter what. What a lot of people don't take into account is how do you recharge your cell phone? So what I do personally is I carry a electric charger for like my car. I keep it with me all the time because even if the power goes down, I can find some way to get access to a car and to be able to recharge my cell phone, no matter what. But it's trying to think of these
having those little pieces
things
like that in
yeah.
terms of your personal preparedness, which is foundational to your business.
And that was a great example because we find a lot of folks who have critical phone numbers on speed dial on their cell phone. So they may not even know the number off the top of their head, and if their battery's dead, they can't contact.
Well, listen, Mike, Jim, thank you for coming in here and all the great work you're doing in this area. Our businesses are at least better prepared having listened to both of you guys. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Still to come on Cox Connections, taking care of business with an eye towards the future. We'll get to know junior achievement. Don't go away.